we're still in lesson 84, and now we're talking about agendas. An agenda is a plan for conducting a meeting. You've probably seen one at least one time in your life. Prior to the meeting, the participants are asked to review the agenda and respond if they need to add things to it. Then the final agenda is distributed to the participants before the meeting so that they can prepare for it appropriately. Agendas normally contain about 5 different types of information. First is a heading with the general topic of the meeting, the date, the time, and the location. Here's the heading in this one on the screen. It has the title of the meeting, the purpose of it, where it's going to be, what time it's going to start, and the date of that meeting. The second thing is a list of specific topics that are going to be discussed in the meeting. And in this agenda that you're seeing with the blue and white table on it, this is the list of specific topics that are going to be discussed at the meeting. Here's the topic column, and it tells what's going to be talked about after things happen and before the adjournment of the meeting, before the meeting is over. The third different thing that is in the agenda is the individual or the group who is responsible for leading the discussion on each topic. So here in this column is the list of names of people who are responsible for leading the discussion. The adjournment has no name. Generally, the chairperson of the committee or the group leader takes care of the adjournment. The next thing that is on the agenda is the time allocated for the discussion of each topic or the beginning and ending time of the meeting. Now in this particular agenda there's a time column, and if you'll notice at 2:30 the overview of proposal requirements is going to be discussed, and then 10 minutes later qualifications of the respondents of the proposals, and then 10 minutes later. This one is done in 10-minute increments up until the discussion, and then they allow 20 minutes for the discussion before recommendations are made, and again they're allowing 20 minutes for discussion of the recommendations. Sometimes an agenda item will only require 1 minute, sometimes maybe an hour, but it's always nice to give the people at the meeting a heads up as to how long this meeting is going to last and control it using the times there. Meetings can often get out of hand and it'll last for hours as long as you as long as you put out front how much time you have for every topic or every section of the meeting. You'll probably be in a better position at the end of the meeting than you would if you did not list these time restraints. Okay, the last thing that is included in an agenda is attachments. And the attachments that would be provided are giving extra information about some of the discussion topics. So in some cases, the information is distributed separately from the agenda before the meeting starts, maybe several days before the meeting starts. Some attachment information will be emailed to the participants of the meeting so they have a lot of time that they can read and review it and prepare what they want to say about it. Agendas might be prepared using a traditional format, just a blank document and hitting the tab key after every time to type in the details of the topic discussion. You can use templates, you can use a table as you see here on the screen, you can use building blocks, but the heading format can vary widely among companies. Companies have a set of guidelines called standard operating procedures, and that usually spells out how their agendas are to be started and what the heading is going to include. The theme and the style set of the agenda often determines the most appropriate way to design the document. So this was used with the title style up here in the styles group. This is one of the other styles in the styles group, and then we have a table that was formatted with one of the table styles. They're very flexible. They don't have to be nothing. No style is set in concrete. It depends on the wishes and the desires of the company management, basically. If they don't care, then they might let somebody else handle those types of cosmetic things. Meeting documents generally follow report format guidelines. So starting the title at the 2-inch line or close to the 2-inch line. This one is not, because this is a drill exercise. It's just on the paper. It's not done properly like the report format guides would show. Unless the meeting is very long, agendas typically fit on one page, even if the margin spacing at the top of the first page has to be reduced. And you can, if you have an extremely long agenda, which happens sometimes, if you've filled up the entire page and it moves on to page 2, you can adjust the top margin size to a smaller amount, and you can adjust the bottom margin size to a smaller measurement so that that possibly would all fit on one page. The agenda at the bottom of page 4-4 is for a nursing partnership board, and you can see basically the same information is there. It's just laid out and formatted in a little bit different way. This meeting would last from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. Call to order at 10:30 and adjourn at 12 o'clock. The meeting agenda that we were looking at here starts at 2:30 and is adjourned at 4 o'clock. So hour and a half for each of these meetings. That's about a normal time, but often if you've ever been a part of an organization, some people just love meetings and just like to have everybody together. So some meetings can last longer. The best meetings, in my opinion, are the shorter ones. After this, after the agenda discussion on page 4-4, you will be creating an agenda that includes comments on it, as we talked about in the previous video.